Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told As podcast. Get ready for, well, a really thrilling ride today. We're strapping ourselves in.
We are.
We're diving deep, not just skimming the surface, into the story of a name that just is Formula One for so many people.
Absolutely synonymous.
Michael Schumacher. We're
Yeah.
talking speed, skill, and just this incredible determination.
An almost unbelievable will to win. Yeah.
Forget the standard race reports. We want to get into the surprising twists, the moments that really, made the legend.
And the story starts so incredibly early, doesn't it? The thing about his early years that always gets me is the ingenuity.
Ingenuity. How so?
Well, picture this. He's 4 years old, already obsessed with speed, and his dad, Rolf, who ran the local kart track, he pieces together a go-kart for him.
Okay.
But not a new one. From discarded parts, basically scrap.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that kart, that homemade machine, that's what he won his first karting title in, at 6 years old.
6. In a cart made from leftovers. That's amazing. It tells you so much already.
It really does. That raw talent, the determination, it was all there from the absolute beginning.
And it wasn't just driving talent, was it? I read something about navigating the rules pretty early on, too.
Oh, yeah. You see, in Germany, you had to be 14 to get a proper karting license.
Right.
But Michael, he was keen to get going sooner. So at 12, he managed to get a license in Luxembourg. Clever workaround.
Huh. Resourceful even then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That drive, that finding a way attitude, it set the tone. And by the time he was, 18 in 1987, he was German and European kart champion. Dominating.
But he didn't just focus solely on driving back, did he? Wasn't there a stint as a mechanic?
There was, yeah. After he quit school in 87, he actually worked as a mechanic for a bit.
Seems like an odd detour for a future champ.
Maybe, but you could argue it gave him this fundamental understanding of the cars, how they worked, how they felt. Probably invaluable later when giving feedback to engineers,
Makes sense. That deeper mechanical sympathy.
Totally. Then came 1988, the move to single-seaters, Formula Ford, and then Formula Koenig.
Which he won, right? Formula Koenig.
Yes, won the championship in his first year. Then Willy Webber signed him for his WTS Formula 3 team in '89.
Weber, a key figure in his career.
Hugely important. And by 1990, Schumacher was German Formula 3 champion. Things were moving fast.
And then there's Macau, 1990. That sounds like a pretty defining moment. Not just a win, but a controversial one.
Oh, definitely. Macau was something else. He was battling Mika Häkkinen. Fierce rivals even then.
Okay.
In the decisive second heat, Schumacher took the lead, made a small mistake. Häkkinen tried to pass, and boom.
Yeah.
Collision.
Oh, no. Häkkinen out.
Häkkinen was out, yeah. But Schumacher's car was badly damaged, too. Rear wing completely gone.
No way he could finish like that, surely.
Well, somehow, incredibly, he did. He limped the car home, defended the lead on the final lap, and won the overall event. Utterly determined.
Without a rear wing. That's insane.
It really is. And what he did with the prize money is also telling. He gave it to his family to help pay off debts. Shows a certain maturity or responsibility even then.
That mix of absolutely ruthless competitiveness on track and sort of grounded responsibility off it. Compelling.
Very much so. Now, the next step was interesting, too. Instead of the usual path, like Formula 3000, he joined the Mercedes-Benz Junior Racing Program in the World Sports Car Championship in 1990.
Sports cars. Why that route?
It was part of Webber's plan and Mercedes's. They saw it as a way to develop him, get him used to powerful cars, endurance racing, dealing with the press, the whole professional setup, build the complete package.
Ah, okay. A different kind of schooling.
Exactly. And it paid off. He won the season finale in Mexico City in 1990, won again in Japan in 91. He even finished 5th at Le Mans in 91, driving with Karl Wendlinger and Fritz Kreutzpointner.
5th at Le Mans is seriously impressive.
It is. He even dipped his toe into Japanese Formula 3000 for one race in 91, finished 2nd. So he was proving he could drive anything, basically.
Building that versatility.
Yeah.
And then the call came. Formula One.
Then came the call. A one-off drive for Jordan at the 1991 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa.
Spa. Seemed fitting.
It does. Eddie Jordan needed a driver because Bertrand Gachot had his legal issues. Webber basically talked Jordan into giving Michael the seat, maybe exaggerating his Spa experience a little bit.
Oh.
Well, he'd certainly driven there in sports cars. Anyway, Schumacher stunned everyone by qualifying 7th. An amazing debut performance in qualifying.
7th in a Jordan.
Yep. Unfortunately, the race itself didn't last long. Clutch failed right at the start.
Ah, shame. But the impression was made.
Oh, absolutely. Flavio Briatore at Benetton certainly noticed. He moved incredibly quickly, some controversy there too with contracts. But he signed Schumacher for the rest of the 91 season alongside Nelson Piquet.
Wow. So Jordan, just for one race, then stored into Benetton.
Exactly, and it didn't take long for him to get that first F1 win.
Let me guess. Spa.
You got it. The 1992 Belgian Grand Prix. Classic Schumacher conditions, actually. Wet, tricky. He judged the tire change perfectly and took his maiden victory.
At his favorite track. And here's a fun fact for our listeners that Benetton he won in. It was the very last Formula One car to win a Grand Prix using a manual H-pattern gearbox.
That's right. A little piece of F1 history right there. End of an era, technologically speaking.
Crazy to think about now with the paddle shifts and everything.
Yeah.
So fast forward a bit. 1994, 1995, Benetton. Championship years.
Yes. His first 2 world championships. But they weren't exactly smooth sailing, were
No,
they?
definitely not. 94 especially sounds like it was full of drama.
Highly contentious. The Benetton car itself, the B194, was described as very difficult to drive, very nervous. Schumacher seemed to be the only one who could truly master it. There were penalties, disqualifications.
Accusations about traction control, things like that.
Those rumors were flying around, yeah. Benetton always denied them. And then, of course, the finale in Adelaide.
The collision with Damon Hill.
The collision with Damon Hill. Schumacher went off, damaged his car, came back on. Hill tried to pass. They collided, both out. Schumacher championed by 1 point.
Still debated today, that one. Hugely controversial.
Massively. But it made him the first German to win the F1 World Championship, racing under the German flag. Big moment for German motorsport.
And he backed it up in 95, didn't he?
He did. Defended his title much more dominantly this time with the new Renault engines in the Benetton. He also helped Benetton win their first and only Constructors' Championship.
The rivalry with Hill continued, though. More collisions.
Yes. Silverstone, Monza. They definitely kept finding each other on track.
But 95 also showed his brilliance, right? Weren't there some incredible drives?
Absolutely. The European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, he was like 30 seconds behind Jean Alesi's Ferrari in the closing stages. Looked impossible.
Yeah.
He just unleashed incredible pace, smashed the lap record repeatedly, hunted Alesi down, and made a stunning overtake just 2 laps from the end. Masterclass.
Wow. And Spa again.
And Spa again in 95. He qualified way down in 16th after problems. Race day was mixed conditions, wet and dry. He drove phenomenally, held off Hill on slicks when it rained. Just sensational car control and tactical awareness to win from that far back.
Just cemented his reputation as a rainmaster and a fighter.
Totally. So 2 titles with Benetton. What next? The biggest challenge, baby.
Ferrari. 1996. The legendary team, but in a long championship drought.
Exactly. They hadn't won a driver's title since Jody Scheckter in 1979. It was a huge move, massive pressure, and a massive paycheck, too, reportedly.
And he didn't go alone, did he? He brought reinforcements.
Crucially, yes. He was instrumental in luring the technical director, Rory Byrne, and the strategist, Ross Brawn, from Benetton to Ferrari over the next year or so, rebuilding the dream team.
That partnership, Schumacher, Brawn, Byrne, Jean Todt, became legendary.
It really did. But those first years were tough. The 1996 Ferrari, the F310, was not a great car. His teammate Eddie Irvine famously called it awful and pretty unreliable, too.
Yet he still won races.
He still managed 3 wins that year, including a wet weather masterclass at the Spanish Grand Prix, just dominating the field. It showed his ability to, transcend the machinery.
Gave them hope. Built momentum.
Definitely. Then 1997, another title challenge, this time against Jacques Villeneuve in the Williams.
And another controversial ending, Jerez.
Jerez, yes. The final race. Schumacher leading Villeneuve. Villeneuve goes for the pass. Schumacher turns in. Contacts Schumacher's out. Villeneuve continues, finishes 3rd, wins the title.
And the FIA reaction.
They found Schumacher responsible. He was disqualified from the entire 1997 Drivers' Championship standings, though he kept his race wins. Another major controversy.
He seemed to attract them. Then 98, another close fight.
Very close. This time against his old rival, Mika Häkkinen in the McLaren. Some brilliant races. Remember Hungary?
Hungary 98. What happened there?
McLaren looked faster, so Ferrari switched to a 3-stop strategy mid-race. Ross Brawn told Michael he needed to basically drive 19 consecutive qualifying laps to make it work.
19 laps flat out.
Pretty much. And he did it. Pulled out the gap he needed, won the race. Strategic genius from the team, incredible driving under pressure from him.
Amazing. But there was controversy again that year, right? Spa?
Spa 98. In torrential rain, leading comfortably, he came up to lap David Coulthard's McLaren. Coulthard slowed, stayed on the racing line. Schumacher, unsighted in the spray, smashed right into the back of him.
Took his wheel off.
Ripped the right front wheel off the Ferrari. He limped back to the pits, absolutely furious, stormed down to the McLaren garage to confront Coulthard. Huge drama, cost him vital points. Häkkinen won the title in the end.
So close, yet so far. And then 1999 started well.
Yeah.
Until Silverstone.
Yeah, 1999 looked promising. Then came the British Grand Prix. A brake failure on the first lap, straight off at Stowe Corner into the barriers. Broken leg.
Ouch. Title hopes gone.
Instantly gone. He missed 6 races. Ferrari's challenge then fell to Eddie Irvine.
But Schumacher came back before the season ended.
He did for the last 2 races.
Yeah.
His comeback at the first Malaysian Grand Prix was just astonishing.
How so?
After months out, he stuck the Ferrari on pole position by nearly a full second, just blew everyone away. Then in the race, he played the team game perfectly, letting Irvine through to help his championship bid against Häkkinen.
Showed the speed was still there. And loyalty, too.
Absolutely. Irvine ultimately lost the title to Häkkinen in the final race, but Schumacher's return was incredible. It set the stage for what was to come.
The new millennium. Ferrari dominance.
Exactly. 2000. Finally. After another season-long battle with Häkkinen, Schumacher clinched his 3rd world championship and, crucially, Ferrari's first driver's title in 21 years at the Japanese Grand Prix.
Must have been huge relief and emotion.
Massive, especially after his win at Monza earlier that year, the Italian Grand Prix. He equaled Ayrton Senna's record of 41 wins and broke down in tears in the press conference. You saw how much it meant.
A pivotal moment, and that was just the start, wasn't it?
Just the start of an unbelievable run. 2001 was dominant, tied Nigel Mansell's record of 9 wins in a season, secured his 4th title really early.
And a unique family moment that year, too.
Yes. The Canadian Grand Prix saw the first ever 1-2 finish by brothers in Formula One history, with Ralf Schumacher winning for Williams and Michael second. And later that year, fittingly at Spa again, Michael broke Alain Prost's all-time record for Grand Prix wins.
Records just kept falling. Okay, we need to take a quick pause here, but when we come back, we'll dive into the peak of that Ferrari dominance and the later stages of his incredible career. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
And hey, while you're waiting, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of Formula One and Michael Schumacher, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast. That way you won't miss any of our future stories. Okay, we're back. So 2001 was dominant. What about 2002?
2002 was, well, unprecedented. Utterly dominant, doesn't quite cover it. He won the championship, his 5th title, equaling Fangio, with 6 races still to go, in France in July.
6 races early. That's insane.
It was. He won 11 races that year, a new record. And maybe even more incredibly, he finished every single race on the podium. 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in all 17 races. Just relentless consistency.
Unbelievable. Perfection, almost.
It was as close as you could probably get. Then 2003, he was aiming to break Fangio's record. Was it as easy?
No, 2003 was much tougher. The Williams and McLarens were more competitive, especially with the Michelin tires performing well in the heat. It was a real fight, went down to the wire.
But he clinched it, title number 6.
He did, yeah. Secured his 6th Drivers' Championship, breaking Juan Manuel Fangio's long-standing record. A truly historic achievement.
And there was a very poignant moment that season, too, wasn't there? San Marino.
Yes, very sad. His mother, Elizabeth, passed away just hours before the San Marino Grand Prix. He and his brother Ralph flew back to be with her, then flew back for the race. Michael decided to race, took pole, and won. He dedicated the win to her. Incredible mental strength.
Just shows the focus and fortitude. And after the fight of 2003, what came next?
2004, the absolute peak. If 2002 was dominant, 2004 was something else entirely. The Ferrari of 2004 was just a perfect machine.
Oh, and dominant, we talked.
He won 12 of the first 13 races. 12 out of 13. Unheard of. He wrapped up his 7th World Championship in Belgium at Spa again, with 4 races still remaining.
7th title. Just staggering numbers.
And he finished the season with 13 wins in total, another new record for a single season. Just peak Schumacher, peak Ferrari, an unforgettable era.
Truly the height of the dynasty. But, as always in F1, things change. Rules change.
Exactly. 2005 brought significant rule changes, particularly around tires. Only 1 set allowed for qualifying in the race. This really hurt Ferrari and Bridgestone.
So, the dominance ended. Pretty abruptly, yeah. Renault and Fernando Alonso on Michelin's became the dominant force. Schumacher only managed 1 win all year.
And that was the infamous United States Grand Prix at Indianapolis.
The one where all the Michelin runners withdrew before the start due to tire safety concerns, leaving only the 6 Bridgestone cars, the Ferraris, Jordans, and Minardis to race. A hollow victory, really.
A bizarre race. So tough year. Did people think he was done?
Some probably did, but 2006 showed he wasn't. Ferrari and Bridgestone bounced back. It was another classic title fight, this time between Schumacher and the reigning champion, Alonso.
He was back in contention.
Very much so. He broke Ayrton Senna's long-standing record for pole positions that year, and after winning the Chinese Grand Prix, his 91st career win, he actually led the championship standings for the first time that season with just 2 races to go.
91 wins. That number seemed untouchable for so long.
It really did. But during the weekend of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, which he won, Ferrari announced that he would be retiring at the end of the season.
So he announced retirement while still fighting for the title.
Yes. And the fight went down to the wire. But then, cruel luck struck in the penultimate race in Japan. While leading, his engine failed. First Ferrari engine failure in a race for him since 2000.
Oh, devastating. Handed the advantage to Alonso.
Completely. It meant Alonso only needed 1 point in the final race in Brazil. Schumacher needed to win, with Alonso scoring nothing, a long shot.
And did he go out fighting?
Absolutely. In his final race for Ferrari, he suffered an early puncture, dropping him way back. But then he put on an incredible recovery drive, charging through the field, setting fastest laps, battling Kimi Räikkönen brilliantly. He finished 4th. Alonso won the title, but Michael went out showcasing all his skill and fighting spirit.
A fitting end to that chapter. So, retirement.
Yeah.
But not complete disappearance, right?
No, he stayed involved with Ferrari as an advisor, helping with car development, but he also needed a competitive outlet.
Motorcycle racing.
Seriously. He started competing quite seriously in the German IDM Superbike series.
Yep.
He wasn't just playing around either. He was pretty quick. Even scored a podium finish in a KTM Superbike Cup race.
That's amazing. Shows his adaptability and just that sheer need to compete.
Definitely. And then, in 2009, the unexpected almost happened. Felipe Massa was injured in Hungary.
And Ferrari needed a replacement. They called Michael.
They did. He agreed to make a temporary comeback, started testing, huge excitement, but ultimately, he had to call it off. Lingering effects from a neck injury he'd sustained in a motorcycle testing crash earlier that year. His neck wasn't quite up to the demands of F1.
Ah, so close. But the F1 bug hadn't gone away.
Clearly not, because for 2010, the big news broke. Michael Schumacher was returning to Formula One full-time.
But not with Ferrari.
No. With Mercedes, who had bought the championship-winning Braun GP team. Mercedes was back as a works team for the first time since the 1950s, with Ross Braun leading it and Schumacher headlining their return. A massive story.
The second chapter. How did it go? It must have been tough coming back after 3 years away.
It was challenging, yeah. F1 had changed, the cars were different, the competition was fierce, and he had a very fast young teammate in Nico Rosberg.
Rosberg often had the edge, especially early on.
He did, particularly in qualifying. Schumacher had flashes of the old brilliance, but consistency was harder to find. His best result in 2010 was 4th place in Turkey.
And there was another controversial moment, wasn't there? Hungary again.
Hungary again, yes. A very aggressive defensive move against his former Ferrari teammate Rubens Barrichello, squeezing him towards the pit wall. Got a penalty for that one.
So, a difficult first year back. Did things improve?
They did, gradually.
Yeah.
2011 saw some stronger performances, a great 4th place in the wet in Canada, battling hard, and he led laps at the Japanese Grand Prix.
Which made him
The oldest driver to lead a Formula One race since Jack Brabham back in 1970 showed the old instinct was still there.
And 2012. More highlights.
2012 had perhaps the biggest highlights of the comeback. First, Monaco. He was actually the fastest driver in qualifying. An absolutely stunning lap.
Pole position.
Well, fast this time. But he had a 5-place grid penalty carrying over from the previous race, so he started 6th. Still, it showed the raw speed hadn't completely deserted him.
Incredible lap, though. And did he get a podium that year?
He did, at the European Grand Prix in Valencia. A chaotic race, but he came through to finish 3rd. His only podium finish of the comeback.
And another age-related record.
Yes, becoming the oldest driver to stand on an F1 podium since, again, Jack Brabham in 1970.
So flashes of brilliance, but maybe not the sustained success of before.
That's fair. Mercedes decided to sign Lewis Hamilton for 2013, and in October 2012, Schumacher announced his second, and this time, final, retirement from Formula One.
How did his final race go?
His final race was in Brazil. He finished 7th. Which, quite remarkably, was the exact same position he finished in his very first F1 start back in 1991.
Wow, a neat piece of symmetry to end an incredible career.
A truly unparalleled career in so many ways.
So when we look back, what really defines him? Obviously the speed, the records.
Yeah.
But what else?
It's a combination, isn't it? The raw speed was undeniable. His ability to churn out incredibly fast laps, especially under pressure, was legendary, pushing the car to its absolute limit consistently.
And the fitness aspect, he kind of changed the game there.
He absolutely pioneered a new level of physical fitness for drivers. And his ability to galvanize a team, to lead from the front, to get everyone pulling in the same direction, especially at Ferrari, was crucial.
The stats are mind-boggling. But he wasn't always universally loved, was he? The controversies.
No, his intense will to win sometimes spilled over into controversial incidents on track. That win-at-all-costs mentality sometimes drew criticism, but it was also part of what made him so successful.
And yet that 2006 FIA survey voted him the most popular driver. A complex figure.
Very complex. He faced some, let's say, negative press, particularly in Britain during his rivalries with Hill and Coulthard. But his rivalries with Häkkinen and later Alonso were epic battles, and he inspired so many, including Lewis Hamilton, who eventually broke many of his records.
Even his helmet became iconic.
Oh, yeah. Started with the German flag colors, then evolved. He worked with Schuberth to develop lightweight carbon helmets, and from 2000, that famous predominantly red design, partly to distinguish him from his teammate Barrislow's helmet, plus all the special commemorative ones.
His impact is just immense, isn't it? Voted most influential person in F1 history. Helped relaunch the GPDA.
Huge impact. He made Formula One massive in Germany, inspired a whole generation. Sebastian Vettel always cited him as his hero. And what he did with Ferrari, transforming them back into a winning machine, is arguably one of the biggest team turnarounds in motorsport history.
Widely considered one of the greatest ever, statistically the most successful for such a long time.
Holds so many records, still most fastest laps is one that stands out, showing that race day pace. His wet weather driving was legendary, and winning far more races than he had pole positions really highlights his racecraft.
The honors and awards just go on and on, too. Named corners at tracks, honorary citizen.
Yeah, Laureus Awards, FIA Gold Medal, corners at the Nürburgring and Bahrain. The recognition reflects the scale of his achievements.
Michael Schumacher's story, then. It's just this incredible tapestry of raw talent, brilliant strategy, sometimes ruthless determination, and sheer hard work. From that cart made of scraps.
To 7 world titles, conquering the absolute pinnacle of motorsport. It's filled with these amazing moments, these highs and lows.
His mark on Formula One is just indelible. He defined an era, inspired millions.
He truly did.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary career of Michael Schumacher. We really hope this journey has maybe sparked your curiosity to explore even more about this legend and the thrilling world of F1.
And maybe, as a final thought to leave you with, considering everything we've talked about, the speed, the tactics, the controversies, the determination, the team building, what single quality do you think was the most crucial factor in Michael Schumacher's unprecedented reign? His speed, his mind, his will, something else.
Something to ponder. Thanks again for listening to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. We'll catch you next time.